Hello, this is Dylan Hantula with the new Simple Read activity. I'm choosing option B. I'll record this session of me completing the Simple Read activity locally using the instructions from post 309 here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clone this repository to my local computer, and then I will import it into IntelliJ where I can complete the Simple Read. So in order to do that, I'll make a new directory called, option B. CD into option B, and then I will clone the project. You can see it's now cloned to my local computer. So I'll open up IntelliJ, and I will import a project here, and I'll navigate to that directory. So see we're here in option B, and the cloned project. Hit open. This is a Maven project that is specified in the Piazza post. I'll hit next, keep all the defaults, hit next again. I will select this project, hit next, use Java 1.8, hit next again, and then use finish. So now it's opening here. You can see it took a couple seconds to load. You can see we now have our project. So we have source, main, Java, assignment, simple read. It'll open up. You see we have our comments here. This is where we should fill in our code to actually perform the simple read. Place our code here. And then also, likewise, we have our tests. Go to the simple read test. And we can see that we have some comments. So we have, expected name, actual name equals. So if I run this test right now, it should pass because the expected name is nothing. And if we go to get name by patient ID, it's also nothing, or rather an empty string, I should say. So this test should pass. So I'm going to make sure that it does so first by just running the test. I'm going to right click and say run simple read test. Select the compiler here. We can look down here, see it's processing or building. Runs the tests. You can see here it says test pass 1 of 1. So that's good. That means that our test is passing at a baseline, and now we will add the code to it to actually do the simple read. So I've already written this code. Rather than sit here and type it out, I'm just going to copy and paste it. So I'll open up this. See we have get name by patient ID. It's pretty simple. I'll copy that. Get name by patient ID. I'll replace the code here. Then we have get ID by patient name. I will copy that as well. Likewise, I will replace the code here. Looking good so far. And we also have the test. So I will take this test and I will replace the test that we have here. And import some things that I need to import, like lists, for example. So everything is imported. This is good. So we'll go back here. I might have to import some stuff as well. Import class. Great. Everything's good in here. So let's just walk through this code really quickly. Get name by patient ID. We see we use the client that was created for us in the simple read constructor there. So we do client .read, and what are we reading? We're reading a resource of type patient with ID, the ID that is the ID that is passed in as a parameter, and then execute is to execute the read. And we're just going to return the name that comes back. So patient get name first rep, and then get name as a single string. So that way we can return the name as the string type that we're looking for. We also have get ID by patient name. This one is a little bit more involved. But you can see we do the same client. We do search. We're searching for a resource that's a patient. We're going to do where the patient name matches the name that was passed in as a parameter here. We want to get a return bundle, and then we'll just execute that. Once we get that, we actually want to step through all of the result bundles. That's how Fire packages things in their Java client. So you see we're looping over every result bundle, and we're getting each entry and casting it as a patient, and then adding the ID from that patient to our list of IDs that we have declared right here. And that's just for the first bundle. Now we have this while loop down here that's going to loop through each subsequent bundle and then do the same exact thing. It's going to loop through that bundle here in this for loop. It'll get the entry, or each entry I should say, from that bundle, cast it to a patient, and then add that patient's ID to the IDs list that we previously declared. And then at the very end, we're just going to return all of those IDs. So pretty straightforward, probably why they call it simple read. Look at the test code. So in the test code, we have our base server, and we have our reader using that constructor that we mentioned earlier. So this is a patient ID that I've handpicked before, just because I know that it works and it's already there. But it's the same logic as before with the test. We have our expected name. Again, this is something that we know ahead of time. The actual name is we're going to use the getName by patient ID function to execute this, and then we'll do our equals. Make sure that the expected name actually does equal the actual name. Likewise, we want to get our ID by patient name, entering in the patient's last name here, and then we're going to assert true that the list contains that ID. So just like I ran the tests originally to just make sure that they pass with the boilerplate code, I'm going to run the test the same way. So I'm going to right click on simple retest and then run simple retest. It's processing or whatever. You can see we have our test pass. Tests pass 1 of 1. So that's good. That means that everything works exactly as we expect it to, and that's great. One thing that I am going to do really quickly, just to prove that the tests are actually doing their job here, is I'm going to change something real quick. So I'm going to edit this ID. So the ID is 1325609. What if I make this 1325608? And let's just see what happens. The test will fail, and we can see that the tests are actually testing something meaningful and getting the right data. So I'm going to run the test again. Run simple read test. It's running, processing, and this is good. So now, just like we expected, the test failed, and we get a 404 not found. The resource with the ID that we passed in, the edited ID, exists, but it's not a patient. I don't really know what that resource is. I just made up an ID. Obviously, I just changed one number. But this is good. This means that our tests are have integrity, and they're testing the right things, and they're making sure that everything works. So now this is exactly what we're looking for. We have our code, our simple read code that runs the way that we expect it to. We have our simple read test that also runs the way that we expect it to, and everything's good. This works on the Fire server in the Ingenious activities. Luckily, I was able to complete the activity before the malfunction occurred or whatever happened. So I'm completing this as a stretch assignment. But I think it's a good exercise to walk through it this way locally in an IDE such as IntelliJ, just to make sure that everything works. Thank you for listening, and appreciate your time.